The energy of the week this week is all about the choice that we have in our lives. And I say the choice because, according to Kabbalah, we're talking about the underlying choice that determines our individual experience of life. And ultimately, from the individual comes the collective experience. But what is the choice? And how does it relate to the opening, the opportunity in this week of portion Naso? So when things are going well in our lives or in certain areas of our lives, things are going well in business or things are going well on the relationship front, it's certainly easier to adorn an experience of liveliness, of happiness, of joy, of enjoyment, right? This is, when things are going well, this is how life is supposed to be. This is the beauty of our existence, of our experience. We get caught up in the perceived goodness of the things that are happening around us. But what about when things are not going so well? And even more specifically, what about that area in your life? And all of us have that particular area, which typically shifts throughout our lives, whether it's business and financial abundance, whether it's health, whether it's relationships and finding the one. We all have that area at different points in our lives where things maybe don't seem to not be going well. Maybe in some circumstances, things are just flat out not going according to our expectations. So we'd qualify that as things not going well. But that area where we feel like we're giving it everything we have constantly, and we feel like we're pushing up against a brick wall. And it's ongoing, and it's tumultuous, and it's painful, and we're almost getting to a point, or maybe we're at the point where we feel like there's almost nothing more we can do, or nothing more we can give. And yet still we're digging down deeper to find that next level of persistence and push and continue to push. But the results, or at least the results we perceive we want, are not coming to us. According to Kabbalah, this right here, that moment right there, and I know I can relate to several areas in my life where I feel that dynamic. I think all of us can relate to it. That moment is the choice. And it's the choice of this week. It's the we have the opportunity in this week not only to establish clarity around the area where we have that choice to make, and I'll explain in a minute what we mean by the choice, but we also have the strength from above, the spiritual strength, to be able to make that choice with more conviction and more certainty. And so what is the choice? Well, bluntly put and practically put, when we talk about the area in our life that just doesn't seem to be clicking, no matter what we do, no matter what we give, how do we approach that area? Do we approach it with disdain? Do we start to become bitter about that particular area? Do we start to say, oh, well, I guess this will never work for me. And do we start to retreat from that area? Do we start to push harder and work more and give it more energy and dig deeper and deeper and deeper? What part of us at a deep subconscious level believes that actually maybe this will never come to fruition for me? Versus what part of us can acknowledge the pain, maybe acknowledge the struggle, acknowledge the fact that, ooh, this is not a cakewalk, this is not a walk in the park, and then shift to acknowledging that it's not actually up to me to manifest this, but it's actually up to me to make the choice right now to have certainty in the light that if this is right for me, if this is a true, deeply deep-seated desire within me, it will manifest. I have certainty in it. I don't know how and I don't know why this particular way is maybe not working up to this point, but I have trust and I have certainty that it will. In fact, not that it will in a future sense, in a future tense, but I have certainty and trust that the energy, the light of this manifestation, of this thing that I so deeply desire is here right now. The energy of it, the light of it is here right now. And it's my work right now, it's my choice to make right now to have certainty and trust in that reality, in the light, in that reality. What I'm describing is not something simple to grasp. It's a very, very deep Kabbalistic concept that, frankly, after years and years of study, it still seems every year that the truth of the concept and the consciousness is still so elusive. But that's the work. That's the work. That's what we're doing here. So our choice is, particularly in moments or in areas where things do not seem to be going our way, we have the opportunity and the choice in that moment to inject certainty, to inject knowing, to inject the light into those moments, into the present moments. And by doing that, we're effectively recalibrating our external, our physical circumstances to align with the choice of certainty and connection to light that we're making in that moment. It's the opportunity of this week. So we have the opportunity to see clearly that area or those areas, and then we have the strength from above to inject a new level of certainty and knowing into those areas, which ultimately brings about the physical manifestation of our underlying desires. Now, Thursday night of this week, 2026, so that would be Thursday, May 21st, is also perhaps the most powerful, or certainly one of the most powerful spiritual windows. Thursday night, May 21st, 2026, the most powerful, or one of the most powerful spiritual windows of the entire year. And it's a holiday called Shavuot. And what it represents is the energy of Mount Sinai, or the energy of the revelation at Mount Sinai, which were the tablets that were revealed on Mount Sinai. And they say that this revelation, the Kabbalists speak about it, that this revelation was the closest that humanity has ever been for any sustained period of time to true enlightenment. And not on an individual level, but on a collective level. The revelation at Mount Sinai, also known as Shavuot, that energy of enlightenment, of truth, of singularity, of oneness is available to us. The potential energy of that revelation is available to us this week, this Thursday night in particular. What else is special about Thursday night? The Kabbalists speak about the fact that on April 1st, 2026, which was actually the first night of Passover, we called in on that night. If we made the proper connection and injected the proper energy, we called in the highest version of ourselves. We called in, we summoned in from above the highest version of our energetic selves, of our souls. And over the past 49 days, which there are many secrets about this 49-day period, 7 weeks split into 7 days. The number 7 holds very significant significance here. Over the past 49 days, we now come to May 21st. And so what do these 49 days represent? They represent the physical manifestation, or the work, the trudging through the mud that we've now had to endure to manifest in our physical human experience here the energy that we called down on April 1st, on the first night of Passover. So we called it down April 1st, we summoned it, we awakened that energy. And through the last 49 days, we've gone through a series, I'm sure we've all felt it, a series of challenges, a series of tests, a series of confusing moments, lack of clarity, chaos. One day it's one thing, the next day it's the next thing. This is very, very common during this 49-day period. And Shavuot, Thursday night, is the culmination of the work that we've done over the last 49 days. So to the extent that we've made the proper connections, we've done the proper spiritual work over the last 49 days, we now can receive the physical manifestation, physical benefits of that work, connecting on a physical level Thursday night, the energy that we summoned down and called down on April 1st. So it's connecting the energy from above, April 1st, to below, May 21st. So it's a very, very powerful time. And the sages say that Thursday night, the connection on Thursday night and being conscious of what's available, the energy that's available, represents and avails us to the opportunity of a spiritual renewal for the entire year. A spiritual connection, a new level of spiritual connection that can stay with us through the entire year, to the extent of the connection and the consciousness that we apply to this week and to Thursday night. So it's an extremely, extremely powerful week and powerful time. And the major Kabbalistic secret in connecting the concept of the choice of this week and Shavuot, the major Kabbalistic secret that comes up for me and that our teachers at the Kabbalah Center have spoken about year after year for so long, is the Kabbalistic concept, and the Zohar speaks deeply about it, of the tree of knowledge, good and bad, or the tree of knowledge, good and evil, versus the tree of life. And Shavuot and the portion of this week, the energy of this week, specifically provide us the ability to connect to our greatest experience of the tree of life, consciousness. Now, what's the difference between the two? The tree of knowledge, good and bad, is sort of as it sounds, which is when I experience things that align with my expectations, or when perceivably good things happen, according to my limited point of view, my human mind, my rational, logical mind, when good things happen, I feel good. I feel connected. I feel in a giving mode, in a sharing mode. I feel good when things line up for me according to my expectations. When things go the other way, when things happen in my experience that are in contrast to what I had hoped for or what I had expected, I feel bad. I feel disconnected. I feel down. And honestly, if we're being honest, this is the vast majority of the world's population. This is how we experience life. Good things happen, perceivably good things happen. We feel good, we feel warm, we feel sharing. The opposite, bad things happen, chaos, uncertainty, we feel down. We become sort of cocooned within ourselves, disconnected from the light and from people around us. The tree of life, on the other hand, is the opposite consciousness of that. And this is the difficult work. It's the opportunity available to us this week to truly connect to the tree of life consciousness, but it requires deep commitment, perseverance, and real work. The tree of life consciousness is irrespective of what is happening in our physical environment, in the external, irrespective of whether my human rational expectation was met or wasn't met. I'm able to apply certainty, particularly in times when my expectation is not met, to know, to apply the knowing that despite that I don't see why this is good, I know it must be good. And that certainty closes the gap between the tree of knowledge, good and bad consciousness versus the tree of life consciousness. The certainty enables us to, particularly again, when negative things or perceivably negative things happen externally, enable us to feel that, feel it, we must feel it, but then say no. No. I'm not going to fall to the belief that this is actually negative. I'm choosing, in this moment, choosing certainty, choosing light, and choosing goodness. And this closes the gap. And so our experience, our consciousness can be elevated, can get to a point where it's joyful, where it's connected, irrespective of what's happening around us. And this is the highest level. This is what's known as Kabbalistically the tree of life consciousness, where we remain irrespective of the noise and chaos around us. We can remain connected, we can remain joyful, and certainty is the glue that closes that gap, and that enables us to ultimately and hopefully get to that experience. This is a powerful week. It is a week where all of the gates are open for us to connect to our highest selves. And it's a week for us to fight for that choice. It is hard, it is not easy, it is very difficult, but to fight for that choice of connecting to the tree of life, of choosing certainty, of choosing light, particularly in the moments where it's uncomfortable to, particularly in the moments where you really feel like you don't want to. And by the way, with those things that you feel like you need to do more, you need to dig deeper, you haven't done enough, there's still another level, I need to do more, those are precisely the areas in this week where we pause, And we look at the situation and say, I've been doing and pushing and trying everything. And for whatever reason, it hasn't been working. Let me try a different path. Let me try a different path, and let that path be in this week, choosing light, choosing certainty, creating space and saying, this has not been working to this point. Let me choose certainty. Let me choose trust. Let me choose knowing that the desire that I have within me is actually here now. And it's just my choice of choosing certainty that this is good and this moment is here for me. The fact that it hasn't manifested in my physical experience is here for me to make this choice in this week. Major opportunity, major spiritual energy available to us this week. That is the energy of the week. And I look forward to seeing you next week.